What's up, everybody? Welcome back into another EWE Reviews. This is me, Eric. Today, we're going to be talking about Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 6. But before we're going to get into that, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, let me know what you guys thought in the video in the comments down below. Alright, guys. So this is Episode 6. As usual, format's going to be spoiler-free section before, and then we'll go into spoilers afterwards. But just a quick little rant before we get into it. Can this season start to hurry up? Because, I'll be honest, I'm going to tell you guys right now, this felt like another filler episode. Alright, so let's actually get into the information about this episode. The name of this episode is Guns for Hire. It came out on April 6, 2023. The cast includes Pedro Pascal, Katie Sackhoff, and this week we have three actors that are just in one-offs, I'm assuming. Lizzo, Jack Black, and Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, I just said those names. It's still weird for me to say. It's hilarious because yesterday I woke up and I saw this episode, and then in the afternoon I went to go watch the Super Mario World movie. And I was just like, wait, what? Jack Black? He was two things I watched that day. So cool for him. I love Jack Black, so that was awesome. Alright. And the runtime for this episode is 44 minutes. So if you guys remember at the end of last episode, Bo-Katan now has like the blessing of the armor for her to go in and bring all the Mandalorians together. So that's the plan. They're going to go try and find her fleet and see what they can do of making them join her side again. So that's the basic idea of this episode of what they're trying to do. And I'll tell you right now, that part of her trying to get them in, it's just like in the last 10 minutes, 5 minutes of the episode. It's not even the full thing. The rest of it's just like a filler. So let's actually now go into my thoughts on this episode. And I'm about to go on a little bit of a rant, guys, so apologizing right now. So Mandalorian has 8 episodes this season. I want to say of those 8, maybe 2 of them, maybe 3, have actually had a good amount of story for this season that I felt like, okay, this actually makes sense. The rest of it, I would say it feels like a filler season. It seems like all they're doing is setting up for Season 4. The reason I say that is because I'm also watching Star Trek Picard. And Picard is not messing around. I feel like Season 3 of Picard has been one of the best seasons of Star Trek that we've had in a while. So I'm just like, wait, what's going on that Picard is doing so well? And as a kid, I used to say, like, between Star Trek and Star Wars was my favorite. And right now I'm like, maybe I need to switch allegiances because I don't know what Disney's doing with... sorry, I almost cursed right there. I don't know what Disney's doing with Star Wars because Mandalorian Season 2 I thought was, Season 3 I think might be, as well. So it's like, wait, so are we saying Mandalorian was great just based off one season, the first season? At this point, we gotta ask ourselves, is Mandalorian even still good? And I don't mean individual episodes, I mean as a series, is it still good? And I don't know the answer. So let me give you some thoughts on this particular episode, where it was cool getting these characters, but it didn't really serve much of a purpose. When we really talk about the meat and bones of what happened in this episode, it didn't really do anything for the story. The Bo-Katan stuff really happens at the end, and you could have skipped the rest of it, and you still would have had that part of it. So I'm just like, what is the point of what they're trying to do with this episode? Where's the urgency with this season? As you notice, I didn't mention Moff Gideon. He's not in this episode. So what's going on? Is it really that we're setting all of this up for Season 4? And to me, that kind of sucks because it's like, Disney Plus is a paid service, right? So you would think, okay, you guys are going to show me urgency with the stuff we're taking out. It's like, no, you're not showing urgency or anything. You just want me to keep paying so we'll go on to Season 4. I'm like, you guys are starting to turn as bad as network TV. So yeah, that's really my thoughts on the episode. Spoiler free, guys. I'll go into the spoiler section and we'll talk more there. So if I'm going to give a score to this episode, I'm giving the score to this episode, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. It's okay. I was debating going mediocre, but I thought it was okay. And it's just like, there's cool things there, but it's just like, what's the point of... We've already seen cool things this season, where it's like, alright, I was... Like last week, I said, oh, that was good, even though a lot of it felt like filler. This week, I thought it wasn't as fun as it was last week, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna start bringing it down, because like, I don't see the point of what's going on. We have 2 episodes left, and I'm not loving this. And it's like, we waited so long, and this is all they're giving us. We waited 2 years just for them to now to say, oh, yeah, we're going to Mandalorian Season 4. That's the one you gotta worry about. It's just like, come on, guys. Now you're just, it feels like you're wasting our time. Would I recommend this episode? Yeah, because, I mean, the actors are cool. I like them. Jack Black is fun. I mean, but it's Jack Black. Lizzo's also cool. And Christopher Lloyd. I love Christopher Lloyd. So, like, just for them being in Star Wars, I'm like, yeah, it's worth a watch. So, yeah, guys, those are my thoughts. Spoiler-free, everything like that. Please, we're going to go into the spoiler section next. So those of you that aren't joining us, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. But I'm giving you guys a 5-second warning for the spoilers. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, what's up, guys? Now we're back into the spoiler section. So let's actually talk about this episode. The beginning of the episode, we actually see this, I always forget the names of the races, guys. I'm sorry. But it's one of the water races. We have two. They're both in this episode. But we start off with one of them. Shows up, and the Mandalorian, the captain shows up, and they're stopped by Mandalorians. We see the Mandalorian captain, and it's Bo-Katan's old right-hand man. Oh, before I forget, shout out to Mercedes Moné, because she's in this episode, and I'm glad that we're getting her back in Star Wars. So that was cool to see her. So the Mandalorians are telling her, like, hey, we were hired to get your boyfriend and take him back to his mom. So, sorry, we could either fight you, or you can hand him to us. And Loverboy doesn't want to leave, but even she tells him, like, we don't want to start an incident. They'll beat us. So, yeah, they take him in, and we won't see the Mandalorians again until the end of the episode. So now we switch over to Bo-Katan and Din Djarin with Grogu, of course, and they know where to find the Mandalorian fleet. So they're going to Plazar 15. They end up landing there, and as they're going in, there's like a welcoming droid telling them, hey, you guys need to go this way. And they're like, oh, we want to go talk to the Mandalorian fleet. And they're like, no, you guys need to go do this stuff first. It's not a request. And they end up going to speak to the Duchess and Captain. And the Duchess is Lizzo, and the Captain is Jack Black. They're a couple. And it's different for Star Wars. I'll admit that. But I did enjoy what it looked like. I was like, oh, cool. They're like, what's the best way of saying this? Society, like, everyone doesn't work. Their droids take care of their needs, things like that. So they're actually having issues with the droids. And the droids are, some of them are malfunctioning and attacking people. Excuse me. So the reason they wanted to use Bo-Katan and Din Djarin, oh, excuse me. Let me get a drink of water real quick. Is because Din and Bo-Katan, since they're Mandalorians, they're allowed to take in their weapons because that's part of their culture. This place is like very, I guess, woke is the word you'd use? But they're very woke and like, oh, your culture, so you can take your weapons in. It's like, oh, okay, cool. So they go in there and they want them to stop the malfunctioning droids. So then they go speak to Commissioner Hellgate, and this is played by Christopher Lloyd, and he's telling them, no, the droids have been rehabilitated. There shouldn't be any issues. And he kind of gives us some backstory on how the people of this planet no longer work, and that if the droids, they lost the droids, they wouldn't know how to function because these people don't work. And it's just like, all they care about is their democracy. So I was just like, oh, okay, this is a pretty interesting conundrum right here. It's like, you need the droids because the people just won't function without them. So I thought that was really cool. That was a good idea. So they actually tell them where they can go maybe find out what the malfunctioning droids are. They go talk to the Ugnaughts, I think is the word. And it's cool because, remember, we saw an Ugnaught back in Season 1, and he taught Din Djarin how to speak to his race. And Bo-Katan's trying to talk to them, but they're not getting through to her. But then you saw Din Djarin was able to talk to them, and they actually listened. And she's like, how do you know? It's like, oh, I've dealt with them before. And it was really cool. It was really cool. And they gave them a location of where they think there might be an issue with the droid. So then they go to this location, and you see a bunch of battle droids. The lead one's just like a normal battle droid, but he's walking around. The ones that are walking by him are super battle droids. And then starts trying to like see, oh, how can I make him give me a reaction? And he starts kicking them. Like, have you seen that video of someone kicking a robot? It was like Din was doing that. I'm like, oh my god, this is how Skynet works. And eventually he had one that did not like it, and I think it pushed them or something like that, or punched them. And then the chase was on, and they were trying to chase it. They eventually do stop it, but there were some cool moments right here. This is probably like the coolest scene in the show of this episode, though there is another cool one at the end. But yeah, that was probably the cool moment right there. They end up stopping it, and they actually find out that it was at this bar before. Now, this is the first time I can think of that we've seen that there's actually a thing called a droid bar. and they actually went in there and they were trying to ask some questions. The droids are like completely confused, and I wish I could go into all the cameos here, but if you ever watched or went to Disneyland or Disney World and you've done that Star Wars tour thing, one of those robots, they had a couple of those robots in there. It was really cool. It's like, oh my god, I'm geeking out because we're actually seeing this in Star Wars, like live action. So it was really cool. And then one of the bartender actually decides that he's going to help them find out what's going on. Whatchamacallit, and he tells them like, oh, like they tells them what everyone's drinking. I think it's called Nepente, and it actually gives them like programs installed into them, telling them new sub commands and things like that. What they ended up doing is they went to go find the autopsy for the super battle droid that attacked them earlier, and they actually found out that his commands were corrupted by this batch of the Nepente. And then that actually got spread to the droid that was nearby doing the autopsy, and it tried to attack them as well. So it turns out, yeah, we have the problem that the Nepente has been corrupted, but the thing is, this has to be done by a person. It's just not a random occurrence, because these are commands that are being put into the drink. And it turns out that the person behind all of it was Hellgate, Christopher Lloyd's character. He's the villain. We end up going to him, Bo-Katan and Din Djarin go confront him, and this is a funny moment where you find out he's a separatist, and he's mentioning politics stuff, and it's like, oh, the Jedi, the New Republic, he's all talking crap about everything, and like he's about to like push the button to make the droids all like die and whatnot, but luckily Bo-Katan stops him. She just shoots him. He doesn't kill him or anything like that, but it's like one of those things to shock him, and she knocks him out, so it's all good. We then go now back to the Duchess and the Captain, and we have this little cute scene where the Duchess throws like she's playing like some game, and she's probably not as good, but Grogu helps her do way better, do something that she's never done before. Like, he's just using his Jedi powers to do that. I'm like, he's having fun. He's a little baby. He really didn't do this much this episode. I think he did that for her, and he did like a little jump earlier in the episode. He was really out of the episode for the most part. So now Hellgate ends up telling the Duchess that he doesn't like the Captain, and that he doesn't like what the planet's become afterwards, like their society has become, because he blames the Captain for all that. But she's in love with him, so she's going to keep doing all that stuff with him, and she exiles the Captain, or imprisons him in one of their moons, I believe, was the place he was sent to. From here, they actually do let them now go talk to the Mandalorians, and this is where the actual story of the episode happens. And I want to say this doesn't happen to like there's like 9 minutes left in the episode. So Bo meets with her old Mandalorian clan, and she challenges the leader, her old right hand, to a fight. He accepts, and they end up fighting. It was a pretty cool fight, I'll admit. It was a nice fight. I like the fact that they don't care about having man fighting a woman. It's like, no. If you guys want to fight for control, you fight for control. We're not babying this. Bo ends up winning. However, the guy is even telling her, like, you should be fighting him to get the dark saber. Like, you can't really lead us without that thing. And it's like, it's true. They actually can't really lead. But she even says, I'm not going to fight Din Djarin. He's just as much Mandalorian as us. He wasn't born on Mandalore, but he lives for the Creed. He is everything a Mandalorian should be. He's as much Mandalorian as them. So that was really cool. I love that. I was just like, she doesn't want to fight him. But then Din is going to give her the darksaber. She's like, that's not how it works. But Din actually had a plan. He's like, well, when we were, and this is a callback to a few episodes back, so okay, there's something. In episode 2, Din was captured by this creature. So Din even says, it defeated me, it took the darksaber. And then Bo-Katan ended up rescuing me, and she defeated that thing. So he even says, shouldn't the darksaber belong to her, because she beat the person that beat me? And the other Mandalorians are like, yes. So Mando ends up giving the darksaber to Bo-Katan. And then at the end of the episode, what you see is Bo-Katan lighting up the lightsaber, the darksaber. So now she's in charge of the Mandalorians again. So and that's the end of the episode. So here's my big problem with all that. That could have been done in a 5-minute sequence. So a lot of the things from this episode, I'm just like, and not just this episode, this season, it's like, what is the point to what you guys are doing? It just seems like you already know what your ending wants to be, and I guess it's Moff Gideon at the end. That seems to be your end goal, but you're not going to beat him in this season. It seems like that's not till next season. You're making him the big bad for next season. So what was the plan for this season? It doesn't seem like there was a plan. It's just more world building. It's like, we don't need more world building. That was what season 2 was for. So in that aspect, I think Mandalorian's failing us right now of like, just give us a good story, because right now I don't feel like they're doing that. So those are my thoughts, guys. If you guys disagree or anything like that, please let me know in the comments down below. Please like the video and subscribe. I really enjoy doing these videos. I'd like to hear more from you guys. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.